Hi everyone, welcome back to the new topic. We still under topic 4. We still under the research design. Right? We still preparing for the chapter 3. Right, measurement and scaling techniques, chapter 11 to chapter 12. These are the learning outcome for these topics. So once you completed this topic, you should be able to understand the 4 basic measurement techniques. You should be able to differentiate the measurement scale under comparative and non-comparative scaling techniques. You should be able to choose the correct measurement scale for your study. And then later in the other slide, you will continue with the text for the measurement instrument for the degree of consistency and reliability. As an overview, measurement involves an explicit or organized plan for classifying and quantifying the data at hand in terms of the general concept in the research mind. It allows the concept to be used in the analysis as the variable. Some books term it as the measuring item. But in your report, you must be consistent whether you want to use as the variables or you want to use as the uh, measuring item or measurement item. You are required to choose a measurement skill based on the capabilities of the respondent, concept of scale application, data analysis approach, validity and reliability. Is all based from your research framework, your problem statement, your research question, and your research objective. So the assignment of number of other symbol of characteristic of object according to pre-specified sets of rules. Objects. Usually object we measure through the sampling profile, right? Because you cannot measure objects as you measure the characteristic of objects. Because in characteristic object, we are measuring more on the satisfaction of your guest, your passenger, your tourist. You want to see that the level of the service quality, the motivation of the tourists and everything. This is more like subjective, while object is more the objective. Measurement helps to clarify the theoretical thinking and to suggest new variables that are to be considered. Right, there are so many items available that somehow you might mislook because sometimes you did not read the articles, but you must be able to identify the accurate item to measure your construct. For example, that there are so many construct measuring food quality. Among the popular, there are about 5 to 6 items. The first one, food temperature, food presentation, food appearance, food color, food nutrition, um, food texture, and many other study identified about 10 other items that measuring food quality. But in your case, you must look into your problem statement whether the what you call that the nutrition or food safety is in your study. Right. Problem exists in measuring abstract and subjective nature because inside data it involves feeling, attitude, and perception. For example, like you want to measure uh, shopping enjoyment, so you cannot use yes or no answer. You must use the Likert scale. One strongly disagree, two up to 11, but usually we only use until 7. Strongly agree. These are the terms and example that we are going to use in the throughout the slides. We cannot measure the objects, but we can measure the characteristic of the object. Remember that. We can measure the characteristic of the object, but we cannot measure the object. But we can measure object by using the ranging, for example, age factor. You put that 18 to 27 and 38 to until 37 years old. You can measure like that. Easily measured variable, right? It lends actually to objective and precise measurement. For example, the age, vendor, income. In your study, I don't think income is important, but you can add other things like level of education and how many times they use uh, the airline. For example, they use the Asia or they dine into the restaurant, and how much they're willing to spend every time they dine in the restaurant. And that one you can measure. But in terms of income, I don't think that you require in your stage. And not easily measured variables, right? Is something that uh, because subjective in nature. You can provide 1 to 7, but somehow some people not really willing to excel themselves. They will just put 4 natural or 5 just okay, right? Because these are the thing that people the perception of the people, how they the 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 perception of the product, for example. When you want to measure, it can be solved by approaching the concept. You will be to reduction of the construct to in order to measurable intangible way, and then it must be looking at the behavioral dimension. Right. Uh, Authorizing and operational defining a concept to make it measurable done by looking at the behavioral dimension, right, which is indicated by the concept. This concept you already highlighted in your problem statement, your RO, your RQ, your research framework, and your research hypothesis. And it is a statement that specific dimension, which is will become measurable. How variables are measured, right? Well, it depends. There are several type of construct or concept that you may look into it. If you want to measure your demographic profiling, you can use um, range, or you can use yes or no, or you can provide, for example, like what you call that? If let's say that you want to measure the education level, you can start with the school levels, um, completed undergraduate study and completed postgraduate study. You do not have to provide the list from the kindergarten up until the PhD, unless your study required it. If not, then you use only um, school levels and other things. If not, you have to code, and you have to analyze, and you have to report in your writing. In a normal context, when you measure something, you use measuring tape. For example, that tailor use measuring tape, or your parent want to upgrade the kitchen cabinet. The kitchen supplier will also use the measuring tape or ruler, for example, to measure the from one corner to corner. What about measuring subjective elements such as feeling, behavior, perception, attitudes? Usually must reduce the abstract notion or concept, right? And then you must really understand the item that would measure the satisfaction, for example. The item that measured the dimension is service quality. Right, remember, service quality is the big word. It's actually a mother. Under the service quality, there are there are many other dimensions depending on your setting. If you let's say that you are studying on the restaurant, then the food quality become the one of the uh, the 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 sub dimension. Service quality actually the primary dimension. Under the service quality, beside the food quality, you can also add the restaurant cleanliness, the table setting, location of the restaurant, the ambient of the restaurant, the knowledge of the staff, staff attitude, staff behaviors, and others. Right? Example here, thirsty. Uh, if you don't have any questionnaire, let's say that you are doing on the qualitative, you cannot see the how people the thirsty of the people, but you can assess through the number of the glasses people drink at one time, right? This is what I call as the measuring. Reduction of extra concept is to render them to be measured in some tangible ways, and then by looking at the behavioral dimension of the concept, you must be able to identify the concept. This is through the your problem statement, your RO, your RQ, your research framework, and your research hypothesis. And then the instrument that you use, normally in the quantitative, you use questionnaire, right? If you're qualitative, you interview people. And then if you're using the questionnaire, you must understand that your Likert scale, right? Later we'll cover more about the scale. And then you must be able to understand unidimension versus the multi-dimension. Right, look at the unidimension versus multi-dimension. Okay, look at the multi-dimension here. Right, this is on the student performance. When you measure student performance, there are many sub-dimension involved. Uh, Start with the test, quiz, presentation, assignment, examination. There are so many items and in one in one subdimension. Test, there are probably 3 to 4 items to measure test and so forth. But for the satisfaction, right, only one dimension, but they have several um, item to measure satisfaction. For example, that in general, I'm satisfied with the service uh, offered by the employee in this restaurant. And overall, I'm satisfied with the food served in this restaurant. Right? Multi-dimension. Service quality is also multi-dimension because it consists of several sub-dimensions depending on um, your setting. If you're studying in the hotel, for example, room comfort, uh, bed linen, bath linen, cleanliness, room service, um, uh, the ambience, Wi-Fi would be the sub dimension in the hotel setting. We proceed to chapter 2, scaling. Like, look at these tools. Right? We use scout for cooking. This is for the uh, builders or interior designer. And this one, let's say that architect or tailor, right? They're using um, ruler, they're using paper and pencil. And sometimes tailor use measuring tapes. Not this kind of tape, but different tapes. Scale, look at this tool. Scale is a tool or mechanism which individuals are distinguished on how they differ from one another. This type of tool used many years ago. Want to measure of the um, gold, for example. Now they use digital weight machine. Actually, series of items arranged according to value for the purpose of consumption. Series of items arranged according to the value. This is a questionnaire and is a continuous flow. There are two options when you want to measure when you want to develop your questionnaire. The first one, the item you might use the published scale, the one that you read in the online thesis, journals, articles, right? Or you can develop the new one. This is normally a study that quality study that you have unique study that nobody has done your study, so you want to use your study. It also can be used in the quantitative. Visually, for the quantitative, we use the published scale. The key point here is that a scale must have a consistent plan for delivering measure, and then is concerned on the valid and reliable set of indicators based on the theoretical construct. Four basic type of scale, right? You can see that uh, the first one is least powerful, like the number 4 is very powerful type of scales. We start with the nominal scale, followed by ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. This is nominal scale, right? Simple. Nominal scale, therefore qualitative rather than quantitative. Sometimes is measure yes or no. Or it can be used in the quantitative as well. For example, right here, usually when you have this kind of question, we have it in the demographic profiling in the last part of your questionnaire. Alright, you will present it by show the frequency, the histogram or mode of um, the item. Alright. So you can answer that here. What is your gender? You can put it female. What is your department? Probably as a salesperson. Or you can answer as the receptionist. Or some people might answer others. and they will write GN, for example. This is a key point of the nominal scale. Ordinal scale, right? Obtained by ranking object or arranging them in order regarding some common variables. Right? For example, that I mentioned earlier that you want to measure the education level, you can start with the school levels, completed undergraduate, completed postgraduate. So the person will take the highest level. You don't have to go from the kindergarten up to the PhD. If you thinking to do that, you have so many items you need to coding and to key in your SPSS and run analysis and reporting is as well. Ordinal, sorry, ordinal scale provide more information than nominal scale by distinguishing categories by rank order than, for example, that age. Usually we not encourage respondent to provide real age. We usually give the ranging. Uh, Usually we start with the age 18 until 27. Uh, then from 28 to 37 and above 38, for example. A question is whether each object has more or less of the variable than some other object. For example, here, right? You want your respondent to ring their feel about how important this dimension to them when they are having when are dine in the restaurant. For me, for example, uh, I will always go by the pleasant, and then the service quality, the food taste, location, and price. Some people will go by the price. Um, the food, location, pleasant atmosphere, and service quality. Well, this answer will depend on your respondent. But there is no right or wrong answer. It will depend on their preference, how they feel that important when they dine in a certain restaurant. Uh, this is a key point here. A scale which data is only simpler in order and used to rank. For example, that high school levels. This one a bit complex, but you can have that uh, undergraduate completed undergraduate study and completed postgraduate study. Unless your objective required, they really need to answer by their highest level of education. Interval scale, right? Provide continual response option to question. Is allowed to measure the distance between any 2 points of the scale. Is allowed certain arithmetical operation to be performed on data collected from respondent. Consists of category of variables nominal arranged in order ordinal and measure the magnitude of the differences among the individuals. For example, like this one, the naked scale. You maybe answer disagree. strongly disagree, neutral, agree, neutral. And from this number, you will key in the SPSS, and then they will analyze and give you the output letter, whether you want to reject your hypothesis or you want to accept your hypothesis. Key point here is to measure the distance between any 2 points on the scale. Look at the example I gave it here. Right? Usually you will see that people read 1 strongly disagree, 7 strongly agree. Well, it depends on the researcher. Anyhow, you need to uh, provide with the instruction before the respondent respond to your question. And this is quite a unique label. Usually we put the strongly agree at the number 7. And why 7? Because there are many studies conducted for the hospitality discipline. They found that the 7 Likert scale is more accurate rather than 3 or 5. And nowadays there are many other level up to the 11. Ratio scale is response scale which participant check a response option with true, 0 and equal distance between units and equal ratio. For example, you cannot just simply predict people weight by looking at the person. You need to ask them to step on the weight machine and you read uh, the 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 number or the kilos stated in the weight machine. Age, income, height, distance, you can use this kind of the scale. Will depend on your study. And I don't think that by giving of the real income, you answer your objective, because sometimes people don't want to reveal their income, but they don't mind reveal that the per annual you give the ranging from the 100 to 120,000 per year, for example, or 10 to 12,000 per year. That one they will answer, right? Age also, and also if you want to people to answer exactly their age, then you have to have a lot of age number that you need to code and you want to key in. And usually they will present it by the presenting the histogram or chart pie in the report. This example of the last type of scale. This is the key point as absolute 0 point. Scale, right? We continue with the two main attitudinal scale, rating scale and ranking scale. They are both different. Rating scale, you can rate yourself. Look at the picture. So maybe I can say that I'm in, well, 7, I think. Or you can put yourself the skinny one, slim here. Alright, so this is considered as the Likert scale, but this is based on the picture. These are several types of the scale. The most popular one is the Likert scale. Intimate scale. This type of scale is not suitable if you having the hypothesis, because the answer will be yes or no, right? 1 or 0 or 0 or 1, right? That doesn't bring any result in your hypothesis, but it will help you in your profiling your sample. Or for example, that if yes, answer number 4. If no, answer number 5. That also can be used. Or you can categorize your scale. Look at the example here. How important were the following in your decision to visit Kuala Lumpur? Right? Let's say that respondent A will answer climate is not important. Cost of travel, very important. Family oriented, very important. Educational, not important. Familiarity in the area, somewhat important. Shopping paradise, important. Maybe other respondent will answer climate is very important because they have small kids. They don't want to get wet. They don't want the kids got sick. Cost of travel also important because they coming in a big group. Educational maybe not too important, but certain people is important depending on the type of the type of what type of the leisure that they go. Familiarity in the area may be important. This one may be not important. This one may be somewhat important, depending on your respondent. Again, this is no wrong or right answer. Another example here. Likert scale. This is important when if you choose quantitative study, especially if you have the hypothesis. And because it's really designed to examine how strongly subject agree or disagree with the statement on a given scale. It's a score that responds or some or agrees to an individual attitude score and become extremely popular. Then we have the numerical scale. Somehow it look like a Likert scale, but they have the different setting. Example, they put the label on top of the questionnaire and then they give you statement like this. If you use Likert scale, the setting, the layout is also different. Then we have the semantic differential scale. Usually they will use by the bipolar attributes. And usually they will go by good or bad, strong or weak, hot or so by if you measure if your study is measuring a small kid, then by using a picture, maybe you can get the answer. For example, that you want to ask them the level of uh, they go to dentist, the doctor remove the tooth, and you want to you want to ask them how painful the process, then they will probably uh, choose from the picture. uh, Another example here. You can probably conduct your own survey regarding uh, your experience with your supervisor. Maybe your supervisor is um, right courteous, friendly, very helpful, very supportive, very competent, honest, enthusiastic. But probably you did not lucky enough. Your supervisor is discourteous, unfriendly, probably not really helpful, hostile. Uh, okay, they're competent. Okay as well. Okay, this is probably your answer. Itemized rating scale. This is something like the Likert scale as well. Fixed or constant sum rating scale. For example, like this, you give a score. In total, the runout is 100. Uh, please allocate 100 points across the following for a fourth attribute to indicate their relative importance when you are choosing the career uh, for your parcel. Maybe we said that on time delivery is important. Price, okay. Tracking, also important. So 50, 80. This one maybe 20. When you calculate the sum, the total must be 100%. Another example here. Then we have the staple scale. Not so sure when is the what type of discipline use this kind of the scale. Example here. Then we have the graphic rating scale. Uh, you use picture, right? Look at this one. Uh, Crying face. Very, very painful experience. And as example here, ranking scale. Just now we have mentioned about rating scale. Now we are focused on the ranking scale. Ranking scale may not give definitive clues to some of the answer sought. Uh, which product line preferred by the example here. There are three types of uh, rating scale. Paired comparison, false choice, and comparative scale. The pair comparison, uh, example that which type of cookie do you prefer? Usually when you want to measure something, we measure orange to orange, apple and apple. You cannot measure orange and apple, but some study require you to measure apple and orange. Look at the example here. Which type of cookie do you prefer? Chocolate chip or oatmeal? But you don't like both. Probably you will answer, I do not have a preference between these two. False choice. Although you did not read this magazine, yet you have to still to answer. Unless that they give you, ask you to put your preference magazine. Again, another example. Comparative scale. Too much about right, too little. Right? In the comparative scale, you ask respondent to rate a concept by comparing it with your benchmark. Okay, this is the simplest example I want to share with you. When you're a small kid, did you remember that you read the Goldilocks and the Three Bears? Remember that when the Goldilocks sitting in the Papa Bear's chair, he said that too big. when when she sat in the Mama Bear's um, chair, said that it's not comfortable when you sit at the baby bear chair, you said that comfortable. Same goes to the porridge that she ate, right? And also the last one when she sleep in the baby bear bed. A comparative scale is an ordinal or rank order scale that can also be referred to the as a non-metric scale. Look at the example here. As compared to Harvard, how do you wisely rank your ITM? Well, in order to answer that, you must go to both universities, one to Harvard, another one in the UITM. Then or you can answer. But if you not go to, if you only went to the UITM, you cannot answer the Harvard because you don't know the Harvard, because you don't have any experience study in the Harvard. And some people doesn't go to ITM or Harvard, like they study in UPN. This you cannot use her answer or his answer as part of your responder because it's a void already.